Do we live in a simulation? In a sense, yes, but not in the way you may have heard. The theory of a simulation reality, a simulated existence, some type of alien controlling us. Like this is a world such as the Matrix. There's a world outside of this world with beings or a being controlling us. And nothing is real. Not in that sense. The Truman Show, not in that sense. Wouldn't that feel very claustrophobic for that to be true? Peace once again, my fellow expressions of consciousness. If you're new to this channel, what I do in this channel is I help point people outside of their limiting beliefs that they are a limited being, because it's simply not true. As always, I'm going to tie in what I'm talking about from the perspective that all is one. From the perspective that consciousness is fundamental, period, but to existence. I mean, what do you know of existence without consciousness? What does anybody know? A simulated reality. You as your personal self, your identity, your personhood. Maybe your name is Winston, maybe it's Kelly. Maybe you changed your name to Panther, to Shiva, to Michael, to Susan. Whatever identity you say is you, that layer of self isn't the driver of your being. Isn't in the driving seat, so to speak. Isn't steering the ship of the boundless self. Your identity, your ego, is that which allows for the meeting of otherness. What do I mean by this? You perceive others as an ego perceiving an other. But the space, let's say, in which the ego, the identity, your thoughts, your memories appear within, that space is more fundamental to your identity self. Because of course, you are not always your identity self, even throughout your regular day, because at some point you fall asleep. Whether it's within 24 hours or 48 hours, at some point you fall asleep. In that deep sleep state, there is no memory, there's no identity, there's no ego, there's no I. There's no I'm a man, I'm a woman, I'm Harry, I'm Larry, I'm a cat, I'm a dog, I'm a human, I'm a snake. There's nothing. Literally nothingness. Because the mind isn't there to perceive. The mind being this ego identity. So that self-evident experience that we all share at some point during the day, that goes to show, I suggest to you, that what is more fundamental to your being is that emptiness. That which is devoid of your ideas, your mind, any issues you have, physicality, mentality, spirituality, non-duality. There isn't an objective experience in that deep sleep experience. I can still call it an experience, but here's the thing. As I said earlier, it's not being experienced by your identity self. It's not being experienced by your identity self, that ego layer. That space which the mind, the memory, that inner world exists within, that inner world that you're experiencing right now with your attention on the screen, that inner world that only exists in the so-called waking state, the so-called dream state, but not the so-called deep sleep state. This inner world is appearing in a space. You cannot see the space, but it's appearing within a space. That space, my friend, is you. That's what you truly are. I suggest to you humbly, because that space is needed for the appearance of your inner world, for the disappearance of your inner world, of objective experiencing. I mean, imagine if you had no senses switched on. Your so-called 5 senses were all switched off. There will still be an experience, but the experience would be of the lack of the senses. The lack of hearing something is still an experience. If there's an experience of hearing something, then there's obviously an experience of not hearing something. If there's an experience of seeing something, then there's equally an experience of not seeing something. We say we're seeing because of the contrast of knowing that we are seeing and not seeing. We say we are touching due to the contrast of knowing we are touching and not touching. So even with the so-called senses shut off, there will still be the experience of the one of senses. In the same way, my friend, when you are in the dreamless sleep, a so-called deep sleep state, you, not as your identity, as pure consciousness, is experiencing, for want of a better word, the lack of your identity, the lack of your ego, the lack of your mind, the lack of physicality, the lack of spirituality, the lack of non-duality. So try for a moment, take yourself to be this space. What is mostly the fundamental experience that you experience every single day? Is it not that experience reduces back, so to speak, when I say back, into that nothingness, that space in which this inner world appears within, in which the inner world of the dream world appears within, even a deep sleep state appears within? Is it not reducing back to that and then springing forth the next day, reducing back, springing forth the next day? Is that not what experiencing reduces back to? Therefore, we can say it's fundamental, or the base layer of your experience, of your mind, of the source of your mind. So when you take yourself to be this space, when you see that you are this space, you then see that you being a thinker of thoughts, your identity being a thinker of thoughts, being a mover of actions, being the receiver of intuitions, being the experiencer of happiness, being the experiencer of sadness, that you, that ego layer, which is more surface layer than the other layers, could not possibly be in charge. Why? It isn't the fundamental layer of self. It isn't always around. You do not experience it throughout the whole day. A thought can appear and say, oh yes, I was sleeping, as we do. But if we are to be sincere with reality, the thought by definition was not there, because it was a dreamless, a thoughtless, a mindless deep sleep state. You see, in that deep sleep state, which is not really a deep sleep, but in this waking world, that's the word we use, the term we use. In that state, there is no time, you see, because time is a perception. Time is a thought of time, an experience. There is no experience, no thoughts of time in so-called deep sleep. Hence, when we wake up, we are never truly sure how long we've been sleeping, so we check our clock or our watch. Because the mind that perceives time wasn't there in the deep sleep state. If it was there the whole time, it will be acknowledging the time that's passing. But no, you wake up and you have no idea what time it is. You have an idea, but you're not exactly sure. You have to check. And then begin the simulation again. The mind is appearing and acting by itself. It's not the driver. It's not choosing. It's moving automatically. Just as your thoughts appear and disappear automatically. Can you sincerely say you choose from a selection of thoughts, pick a thought and then put it into the mind? And then be aware of the mind? And then remove the thought? And then choose another thought, then put it in the mind and then be aware of the mind? And then remove the thought and be aware that you have removed the thought? Is that truly your experience? Or is it just automatic and effortless? Of course it's automatic and effortless. But of course, look within yourself. Don't just take my word for it. Never do that. So linking this back to the simulation. The simulation is that this space, this pure consciousness that we call it, pure awareness, pure self, the source, that isn't a doer as such. It's not doing things. Doing is action, doing is experience, doing is effort. There is no effort for the background of effort, the background of the experience of doing. There is no effort for the space that allows the clouds to be in its place. There is no effort for that which allows memory to appear and to disappear. There's no effort for that which allows music to merge with one's hearing, go into one's physical body and move one's body effortlessly with the music. There is no resistance to that. There is no resistance to breathing. You'd have to think to not breathe. You have to tell yourself, or there would have to be a problem. But there's no resistance to that problem happening either. There is no resistance to life doing life, whether so-called positive or negative, which again is of course mental. Try to understand the base layer of yourself, my friends, my fellow expression of consciousness, is completely free. And that's so beautiful. It's completely free. Yet, the miraculousness of it is that it is somehow, of course the mind can never know, allowing things to be, creating this experience via the experience of the mind. You don't have to know objectively how it happens, but you can come to experience that that source is that which experience is appearing out of, it's that which the mind appears out of. We can call it pure consciousness. But see that it is what you truly are. Because your mind reduces back to it. You are that which is aware of, I have a mind. I don't have a mind in deep sleep. I have a mind. I don't have a mind in deep sleep. But again, it's not the mind saying it in deep sleep. It's just this knowing that needs no words. What you truly are is wordless, nameless. You cannot name what you truly are. Any name that you say is just mental. It's subjective. It's a label. You can remove labels anytime you want to. That which is the source of all has no actual label. This is the sticking point on this path when it comes to accepting that the mind can only go so far. Empirical evidence can only go so far. Testing physically can only go so far. Talking to a guru can only go so far. Listening to me can only go so far. Opening your chakras can only take you so far. The experience of being that is what you always experience, but to consciously experience it, that's where in my experience at least, the mental understanding needs to go as far as it can, or the love in your heart needs to go as far as it can, or the selflessness needs to go as far as it can to allow for the experience. I can assure you it's beautiful and worth experiencing to happen. The mind kind of steps aside and you start perceiving as that source, and everything then makes sense. Your thought of what should I do in the next 5 minutes, that wasn't chosen by your ego. Your thought of in fact, you don't have a thought of should I make my heart beat? Your heart just beats. In the same way you can appreciate that your body is acting automatically. You might use the word subconscious, but that's neither here nor there. The fact is, you could sincerely say I'm sure that your body is definitely pumping blood by itself, as in you don't have to consciously tell it to do so. The brain is firing electricity by itself, meaning you don't have to tell it to do so. In the same way you can appreciate that, there is a deepness in you, a layer within you that can also appreciate that thought also just appears like that. So if thought is also just appearing and disappearing without conscious thought to think of something, even the conscious thought to think of something, that is again showing you that the fact that you cannot think of the exact thing you want to think of every single time is because this ego isn't the thinker. So it creates this energy, this contraction of trying to do something it can't. But when one relaxes and lets ego be seen as what it is, which is just an appearance, a disappearance, and when your deeper self doesn't try to mold the ego and move the ego, which causes stress, then the ego, the thought mind, thinking mind, runs more smoothly. So when one can see that the thoughts are also appearing and disappearing by themselves, your attention is appearing and disappearing by itself. If a plane flew over your head, could you sincerely just choose to not hear it or choose to hear it? Let's say, for example, if you couldn't hear it, do you choose to hear it, or does it just come within your awareness? You can't shut off your senses. And if you did shut off your senses, as I said before, you still, that awareness, that pure consciousness that your senses have been shut off. All experience is taking place, is dancing in front of this source. It's an effortless, beautiful, synchronistic, intelligent existence. The more one releases the attachment to the idea that I am the doer, my thoughts go my way, the more one releases that attachment, the more one flows with life instead of against life. And let me say, it does not mean that you have to see that you are the observer of the mind of the ego. The belief of being an ego is also important because we need it to be grounded in so-called reality. But if you're a truth seeker, if you want to know what you really are, then, and if you want peace, then a detachment from the idea that you are solely the ego mind is required, I'd suggest. So everything is moving by itself, so we could say that's a simulation. Yeah, it's a simulation. This is a simulation of the mind. In the same way, in your dream world, it's just happening. Your dream world is just happening. Oh, look, a bird. Oh, look, I can fly now. Oh, look, this, that. It's just happening. It's a simulation. Of course, you can have lucid dreams, but still, even in the lucid dream, you did not consciously choose every single thing in that lucid dream. You were just aware that you are awake in the lucid dream. You're aware that you're changing things in the lucid dream. But every single thing in a dream is still not being controlled by your conscious mind, is it? So again, I'm not saying there are entities or an entity outside of reality controlling reality. For many reasons that cannot be so, I suggest to you, but you're welcome to believe that. I'm simply saying that the ego mind is kind of like a simulation. But because we are that infinite intelligence, that source, we can believe that we are the ego mind. So what's the benefit of understanding that this is a kind of simulation, as in yourself? Therefore other things too, because it's all running to conscious minds. The benefit is not being so easily manipulated by things of the world, of reality, especially things like your own thoughts, your own emotions. Like really believing that you have to do what your thought or emotion tells you to do. I'm angry. Okay, I guess I don't like them. You see, when you take a step back or take your energy out of the idea, when you reduce your energy that you are giving to this reality that appears to be really all there is, but there is more, the source, taking energy away from it can help to create a better existence, a more peaceful, pure existence. Why? Because so many of us in reality, we are all that one source, but we have individual minds. So many of us in this reality are taking the reality to be exactly how it is. So because we are all a part of that infinite intelligence, we create this reality to be exactly how it is. But more people are waking up. So the more we take our energy away from the idea that it is exactly how it is right now, and that's all it can be, the more energy you take away, the less it can function. And taking the energy away from seeing it as a be-all and end-all, and not seeing it as a play of sorts. Because, you know, it's being really stuck into it that creates these things, like creates contention, creates arguments, creates anger, creates wars, creates hate. To take a step away, to remove one's energy a bit, to see the play of it, in the same way we see a dream as a play, then the more we can allow the purer energy to be injected, let's say, into reality. Because if I'm taking my ego mind out of the idea that the ego mind is running things, then I'm perceiving as the purer self. And the purer self is chilling, it's cool. It has no problem with any race, any gender, it has no problems. If you're sitting next to me and we're both chilling as the pure self, we're chilling. If we're chilling with our egos, we're gonna think of something to dislike about something or someone, most probably. Even the simple thing of, oh, it's not the perfect temperature. oh, why is it not the perfect temperature? And then we spiral down from there. So just to finish off now, you may have of course heard the phrase be grounded in reality, which is of course true. One must be grounded in reality. But what is not often understood about reality is that you can be grounded in a reality or another reality. The most general way we perceive reality, as I've been saying throughout this video, is through the ego mind layer, the egoic layer, the sense that I, this mind, this identity is the driver of the self, is perceiving the world rather than being that which is being perceived. So when we perceive reality, or when we are grounded in the egoic reality, we will see others more from a perspective of focusing on their differences. You look like that, your beliefs are this, difference. When we are grounded in the pure reality, that which is a layer behind the ego, that which the ego appears and disappears within, the watcher of the ego, the purer self to the ego. When we perceive as that, and we are grounded in that reality, then we are more focused less on difference with people and more on oneness, more on the fact that everybody is deeper than the ego layer that is often mistaken to be one's true self. Everybody has a purity no matter what they are doing, who they are, what they believe. That's not what they essentially are. So the choice is yours. The more grounded in the egoic reality, the more one will focus on difference, which springs a forth contention, and I mean difference with people. The more one is focused in the pure self, reality, the more they can see beyond people's actions and see that beneath that there is a peace, a peaceful soul, and empathize with that, living with more love. Of course, both of these realities exist within the same physical world, but it's a way of perceiving. You can perceive as the shallow level of yourself or the deeper layer of yourself, which is closer to the source. I don't want to make this video too long. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe. Have a wonderful day or evening, my fellow expressions of consciousness. Peace to you.